Well, hello, everybody. Thank you for joining in to our first Down and Dirty with Wide Open Wednesdays, May 14th. Tonight we're in the studio. We have Diane Schreiner with us. So thanks for coming in, Diane.
My pleasure.
Why don't you tell the viewers a little bit about yourself?
Well, I'm married to Rick Schreiner. We've been married for almost 12 years now. We met at the racetrack.
Oh, wow. Which one?
East Moline. I was working in the pit shack.
Okay.
So.
He was probably trying to get in free, wasn't he?
No, no. We just actually kind of hung out as friends for a little bit first, and.
Okay. Is Rick still racing?
Yes, he is. He hasn't yet this year. But
Okay.
hopefully soon. Car will be ready soon, and then we'll be out on the track. And
What number does Rick race?
Rick is number 8.
And what class is he racing this year?
This year he will be in a hobby stock.
Okay, ooh, got some
Racing with
competitions
Randy.
in those hobby stock guys now. Here comes Mr. Schreiner. So Diane, what do you do in what's a week like for yourself in the racing world?
Well, besides work, Monday through Friday day job, I mean, I do a lot of crafting at home. I spend a lot of time hanging out in the house.
So you're not out in the garage with Rick, throwing tools at him?
I used to be a lot. Every now and again, I'll still go out there, but it just, after so long, I feel like I'm being more productive in the house.
There you go. Okay.
So, I just don't like to just sit around anymore.
Now, what track would you say is your favorite track that you like to see Rick race at?
My favorite track is Tipton.
Okay.
Why is that?
There you go.
I don't know. I love the sunsets. It's beautiful. It's always a good race. Always.
Well, speaking of a good race, what would you say was one of Rick's favorite races that you've seen him race? Or
Let's see, what year was it? 2000. It was probably around 2014, 2015. He won on his dad's birthday.
Oh, okay. Mr. Larry Schreiner.
Yep.
He was a racer back in his day, too. Okay.
That's where he gets it from.
Yes. So is there any viewers out there that have any questions that they would like to ask Diane? Please chime in. We'll get those asked. Janelle, do you got any questions for Diane here?
Well, yeah, so you were already in the pit shack, like working when you met him? Is
Yep.
that because
I've grown up around racing. I've been around racing my entire life. So
Okay. What's the hardest part about being married to a racer?
Good
the
question.
schedules.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes I want to do something. And, we're racing, and I don't miss a race. I
Okay.
don't. So it's a lot of give and give instead of give and take. So you just kind of have to bite the bullet and just go with it.
So you've been to every single one of his races?
I have.
Wow. How many is that he does a year?
Oh gosh.
Because is he racing every Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or?
Not anymore.
Okay.
There for the first probably 6 years or so, 6 or 7 years, we raced every Friday, Saturday, Sunday night. If there was a fair race on a Wednesday, we were there. So it was a lot.
What do you predict Rick going to race track? What tracks is he going to race at this year when he does finally come out?
We'll race, and I don't think it'll be every single week, but we will definitely race East Moline, Davenport, Maquoketa,
Okay.
and then any specials, Tipton, and hopefully we can get out to some other tracks this year too.
Good. Have you guys ever been up to the Super Nationals?
We went up a couple of years ago. We went up there for the weekend. My daughter lives up there.
Oh.
In that area, so it was kind of nice. We were able to stay at her house and then just make the drive and go watch and then go back to her house and stay. We didn't stay for more than a couple of days, but it was fantastic.
Yeah, they're Super Nationals. If you haven't been, it's definitely something
Oh,
to get out to
gosh.
watch.
I cannot wait to go back. It was
Yeah.
a blast.
You think Rick will ever try to qualify?
I don't know. I doubt it.
Yeah.
That's a lot. That's
It
a
is.
lot of work for these guys, and I commend any driver that goes out there and does it because it's a long, grueling week, especially for their families.
I was just going to say, and that's why we got you in the studio for their wives. I mean, you guys are, you go through the whole turmoil with them either. When they have a flat tire in the heat race, they come in and they're upset. When something like that happens, what do you do? How do you calm Rick down?
Rick is not one to get mad. Rick is so just chill.
Okay.
He just, everything rolls off his back. It is what it is. He doesn't, I've seen him get mad on the racetrack one time. car was totaled. It was put in the wall.
Yeah.
And he got out of his car, did a total Dukes of Hazzard move over his hood, and jumped in the other driver's window. And instantly, just a calm came over him. He was done.
Okay. Wow. Maybe more drivers should learn that from Rick. Okay. Now, you said you had some children?
I do. I have 5 children.
Do they come to watch them?
My son does. Okay. My son is 14. He'll be 15 next week on Tuesday, and he is
Happy early birthday.
Thank you, Ethan. And he is just starting to really get into racing. So he went with me to the Nippy 50 I worked, and he went with me to the Spring Fling when I worked. And he loves going to all of them, meeting all the new people. He got to meet Bobby Pierce, and he just was
that'd be
in
cool.
seventh heaven. Got a lot of autographs. So
that would be cool. So you work in East Moline this year, I see, at the Pit
am.
Shack. How do you think Mr. Parker is going to be doing with that?
So far, so good. Everybody that I've spoken to had nothing but wonderful things to say. The track was smooth. It was great. It was a little dusty, but you're going to have that.
Absolutely. Started out dusty, finished off well.
Yes.
It did.
I mean, you're going to have that. The track hasn't been raced, and they'll get it down. But I have a good feeling about this year.
Yeah, I do too. I'm just glad that somebody came aboard and
Absolutely.
gave us a racetrack to race on, right? I mean,
Absolutely.
you're not going to ever make anybody happy regardless. So,
And
just
that's
the fact
Rick's
that
home
he
track.
stepped up. Yeah.
So, he's raced at East Moline since he was 14 years old.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
I grew up with Rick, and I remember him as a little kid, and now to still see him and hang out, and Lucky got to hang out with me I got to hang out with him on my birthday. Let's
did.
just say it was a good time.
Oh,
so
yes.
I do wish Rick the best of luck. Sorry if I'm talking a little funny. I have some teeth work done today. I had a root canal. But other than that, is there anything else that you like to do in your spare time?
Like I said, I do a little bit of crafting. I make some shirts. My sister and I kind of have a little side hustle going. Kitty's Creations. And we do shirts. We do keychains, little potion bottles, different necklaces, jewelry, stuff like that. Just kind of getting started.
You got a phone number anybody can reach out to you about?
Well, my phone number is 309-644-9516.
Okay, you guys, if you need any shirts made, any hats, logos, anything
Keychains.
like that, keychains, potion bottles, go ahead and get a hold of Diane. Diane, read that number off one more time.
Yep, it's 309-644-9516. And on my Facebook page, I also, any posts I make about it, I make them public so anybody can see it.
Okay, make sure you guys give her a shout out. Is there anything else, Janelle, you want to add to this?
What were you talking about? The powder puff race?
Yeah.
Have you ever raced in that?
Funny story, no.
It's not much of a story.
There is not.
So
So
where's the story?
the very first year I was ever going to race a powder puff race, ironically, the transmission broke.
Oh,
The second year I was going to race a powder puff race, ironically, the starter went out.
okay.
So I'm just not destined to race a powder puff race, and I'm okay with that. I'm perfectly okay with that.
Well, let's hope we can get you in one. Because I know
Absolutely.
I want to
I was going
drive.
to say, have you done one?
Many.
Oh, yes, she
Have
has.
you?
Many,
I
yes,
didn't know that.
many.
I think we should get some 4.6 Fords or something and do that.
I'm with you, Kelly.
Celebrity or powder puff or whatever you
You
want
know, Wagner's Auto is a sponsor of Davenport, and we got some of their Hickson crew coming in a couple weeks. So let's give them a shout out if they want to donate any cars to us to get this powder puff race going. We'd love to have it.
I would absolutely be down for that.
Yeah, I think I would be down.
How'd
Janelle?
you do when you did it?
Oh, she dominates.
I'm a winner.
She is. She dominates.
So, but we don't need to brag about me. We can talk about that later. But yeah, no, I say we do that, Kelly. I think we can make that happen. And Diane, you gonna be the first one to jump in?
Absolutely.
We'll make sure starter, transmission,
Everything works. and
tires
I'm
are aired
good.
up.
Yep.
Right.
Janelle, you in?
Well, why not?
Yeah,
I mean,
I
put
say
me
we
on the
do
spot. I
it.
can't say no.
What's the worst that can happen?
Right. They're already junkyard cars.
Right.
Right. All right. Is there anything you want to ask us?
Not that I can think of off the top of my head.
Okay. Kelly, you got anything?
No, I'm just enjoying the show.
Yeah. Well, again, thank you for coming. Sarah Freeman was supposed to be with you. Let's give her a shout out. I hope you and your kids get feeling better, lady.
Absolutely.
We'll still bring you in. We still want to hear from you. So you get feeling better. You take care. And Diane, we appreciate you coming in and being our first host.
Hey, thanks for having
Or
me.
first guest, sorry.
I was gonna say, we're the
First
host.
guest, yeah. Okay. Yeah.
It's your first
It's
time
the medicine.
hosting, so
Yeah.
Yes.
It's the first medicine.
Yes, so
Yeah.
congratulations for your show.
Yeah, we hope it's a success.
Absolutely.
We want to be around for a while, so you guys please keep tuning in.
Absolutely.
All right.
And then we're gonna take a break. And
Yeah, we'll take a break and we're going to bring on what we call the old retired guys. We got stay with us. We got Donnie Merton and Brad Cook coming in the studio. All right, thanks guys.
Thank
thank
you.
you.
we're gonna keep it going, right?
Oh, we are.
All right.
Oh,
All right.
I thought we were gonna take a break.
We don't want to stop the stream again. I don't think.
If you want to bring up,
I got
All
this
right, you
flip
guys are on, so whenever you're ready, no pressure, you're on live right now.
all right, guys. Well, now who we got? Brad Cook over here, and we got Donnie Merton, retired guys. I know these gentlemen from Hawkeye Raceway, the old bluegrass track. Brad, let's start with you.
Okay.
What year did you start racing?
Oh God, roughly, I don't know, 81.
Okay, what was
Approximately.
your car number?
27 when I first started racing, but
Ooh.
later it went to 5.
Why's that? Why'd you
yeah.
change?
Well, my dad, when he owned a car years ago, was number 5 when they first started building cars. Then later, when they finished, it was 7. So we kind of decided we were going to go back just a single digit number and went with 5.
Nice. I had no idea about the 27. That's showing my age right there. Okay. Donnie, what year did you start racing?
Oh, I think it was 93,
Okay.
early 90s,
What number did you start out with?
90.
Did you ever change it?
No.
Okay.
Just right to the point.
This is Donnie's first time here, guys. Brad's been here a couple times. So, Donnie, what was your favorite track that you raced on?
Oh, probably my favorite was Bureau County, probably in Bluegrass. between the
Okay.
two.
Why's that?
I don't know, just fun. Bluegrass, I like that out in the middle of nowhere. And Bureau County Friday night, the crowd they had, and just I like to go race Friday night and
Okay.
get screw around the rest of the weekend.
I know what I liked about a bluegrass, and I know this isn't about me, but I remember we could claim a motor and we could drink a beer
Oh yeah,
all at the same time.
it was great.
Oh, yeah.
You ain't doing that now.
No, good
So,
Lord, no.
with that being said, what do you guys think about? Well, first of all, what year was your car that you drove?
Well, I won the track championship in '93.
Okay.
Hawkeye, and
So happened the year you started.
yeah, that was the year you started?
Yeah, not out there. I started East Moline.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
Love that track because I mean that was home base for me because Davenport wasn't running every week at that
Right.
time. So that's just where we ran most of the time.
And what year? What kind of car was that you raced?
The frame was the '71 Chevelle,
Okay.
but it had a '68 Le Mans body on it.
All right. Was that the blue one?
That was the light blue one. Yeah.
Okay. And that's when you had your purple car because believe it or not, I got some footage and I can't get it on the air, but it's on YouTube. It's you two at Bluegrass. You started in the front, you started in the back. Believe it or not, 5-6 laps into it, that's when the little Indian was running.
Oh wow.
You guys were going at it. Let's just say that. It was Bluegrass days.
Trying to get him in a fight right
I
now?
can honestly say it wasn't a smooth track out there. It was a little bumpy.
Well, the early 90s when it was, what year was it? It was so wet. Because you'd go down the stand side, and there'd be water running out of the grandstand.
Oh, I
yeah.
believe
Remember
that.
that?
Yeah. I was one of those girls down there by the fence. Yeah. So,
So it was rough there.
Yeah.
Just a little bit.
You launch into turn 3.
Yeah.
now, so Brad, would you race this? Would you race now?
Absolutely.
You would.
Of course.
Would you build one and race it, or would you just drive
I would
Austin's?
I'd drive Austin.
Would ya?
In a heartbeat. Yeah.
What about you, Donnie?
I don't know. I probably would. I say I probably, but
Yeah.
who knows?
Well, how come you? Why'd you stop?
Mainly I stopped because I started trucking.
Okay.
I was just gone a lot, so whenever you got home, you had to spend the weekend working on a car and racing, and
Yeah.
then back to work. And
Brad,
was the
why'd
main
you
reason.
stop?
Just started having a family. Money was becoming a problem to do both.
Yeah.
So we just kind of got out of it.
Racing's expensive these days.
Very much so.
So do you miss it?
Oh, God, yes. I'm
Johnny?
still there every
Yeah.
I
day.
do miss
Yeah.
those are some of the funnest days ever.
Oh, we had a blast.
So tell us some of your memories. You hear these stories about bluegrass, and I'm going to tell you, I think 80% of the people I talk to, they don't believe us.
I remember Bluegrass, they used to tell us lock the gate and we left.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, we'd be out the parking lot till 3 o'clock in the morning having a beer.
Yeah.
Close
And I'd
up
have to
when
go
you
home
leave.
race East Moline the next day.
Yeah.
I couldn't do that now. If I was out till 3, 4, or 5 in the morning, I'd be. I'd
Well.
miss the next night.
Yeah, that'd be great, though.
So I'm going to bring back, who would you say was your biggest competitor? Start with you, Brad. And it's okay if you don't say Donnie.
Don was the night I won my track championship. Don was the only one that could have beat me out of it that
Okay.
night. He was the only one close enough. If I would have finished in the top 10, then nobody could have beat me out. But as it were, the third or fourth lap into the feature that night, I broke the transmission, and all I had was low gear
Okay.
and limped it around. I thought, well, Don's going to win this because I just keep going backwards.
Okay.
But it was so early in the race, and I don't know if you remember or not, but you ended up breaking an axle.
Yeah, I used
On
to
the
do that
car.
once in a while.
Yeah.
Back when we still ran the GM axles, used to
Yep.
work well until I put a 9-inch in, then they were broken.
Yep, the caution light when I came over and setting in turn 4 was Don setting up by the wall and his left rear tire was missing.
So
So
you
at that
knew
point,
at that
I knew
point.
I was going to win it. So it didn't matter what I did after that. So I just coasted.
So
to
what
get the race
happened?
over.
So what happened in the pits after that then?
Not a whole lot. Some congratulations coming around, and I suppose you was in on the big party in the parking lot
Oh, I
afterwards.
imagine. I was in on a few of them.
Yeah.
There would have had to been 100 of us that night.
Oh, I'm sure.
In the parking lot, and Vern just simply come over and says, "Close the gate when you leave." That's it. And
Every time I see somebody get on a tractor, the first thing comes out of my mouth is Vern Schumann.
yep, Green Acres.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
I mean, I think that's where Boone should have got it from, is Auvergne.
100%. Yeah.
What's some of your fond memories of that racetrack?
Oh, it was just fun. We had fun. Bill Van Woestijn, Brad, Fred Correa, all them.
You ever see those guys anymore? You don't go to the races much,
Not
do you,
a whole
Donnie?
lot. I see Brad go to Davenport.
Brad goes to Davenport every Friday.
Oh, I
He's
know
that.
up there at the picnic tables right there. He's
Yeah.
always there.
Right in the
I don't
front.
see a whole
Yes.
lot of them.
I think you should get going.
I know.
My brother Randy had a really good idea. He wanted to bring all the past people in, get us all in this like little studio and do an interview. I don't think it's a bad idea.
That'd be fun.
It'd
be good to see some of the old guys.
Yeah.
One of the biggest memories of bluegrass. Remember when they used to do the Street Stock 50 every year?
Yep.
For younger people don't remember, there was over 100 cars show up.
Tell us about it. Talk
They
about
had,
it.
They had 6 heat races. I looked up a while back. I think they had 6 heat races, 2 semi-features, last chance race, just for street stocks.
Yeah, that's
Did
great.
you always make it?
Yeah.
I did, yeah.
You did?
Yep.
All right.
I mean, it was crazy. Cars come from cars you never seen before. Cars from all over.
Cars are coming in out of Des Moines for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I missed that track too. Now it's got a bunch of houses on it.
Yeah, what a shame.
It is.
That was a great racetrack.
It was.
Nice not having to worry about curfew.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No
Back in
curfew.
those
Close
days,
the
we'd
gates.
race at East Moline, and they had so many cars every night. We were always, they called them bombers there,
Yep.
We were always last, so a lot of times we'd get cut off short because
Yes.
of curfew.
But they still pack a house too.
You
mean-
never had curfew at Bluegrass.
No, bluegrass was a good thing. That's where a lot of people got, had their roots. That's where I got mine anyway.
Yeah.
I remember pulling on a track one time out of Bluegrass. It was 1 o'clock in the morning when we started our feature.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was insane. It might have been the Street Stock 50. I don't know. There were so many cars that day.
Them, though, usually started out in the daytime, remember?
Yep.
That was a daytime race. But I
Yeah.
went to the night. But
Yeah, it was 1 o'clock in the morning. I
How
took
much?
a nap.
If you guys had to put a dollar amount on something, like what do you think the cost is now to race versus what it was 10 years ago, or even
I don't know, 10 years
When
ago.
you
but
started.
our
let's say
time,
when you guys, yeah.
Probably 50 times.
I would guess.
Well, you got Austin
when-
that races, so
Yeah.
you have an idea.
From what Don and I drove to compared to today's cars, the cost of today's cars, I bet you could field our entire
Yeah.
feature lineup for the cost of one car today.
Our cars are actually real cars. I mean,
Yeah.
they had to be a steel body, and people
Yeah.
would give me old junk Monte Carlo and stuff. You cut the fenders off, and
Yeah, you go to
and
the
if it
junkyard
had
and
good
get your
shock,
parts.
if it had good shocks on the car, we'd save them. And
Yeah.
we didn't run fancy shocks, but
You couldn't.
No.
they're good.
I remember my dad telling me stories about how sometimes he would just drive my mom's old work car to the races and knock the windows out, and they was racing it.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
I got a lot of memories racing with your dad and Randy.
Yeah.
And there was a little story about your dad. There was a night, Bluegrass, there was a big wreck just coming out of 4.
Mm-hmm.
On the backstretch, it would be there. But I don't remember who the driver was. I want to say Dave Krogman. Does that name sound familiar?
Not to
anybody?
me, but
Okay.
maybe to somebody out there listening.
Well, we were just in a single file line. There was only one groove in the track, and Dave, coming out of the 4, decided to stick it in the wall somehow. And we were kind of all squeezing through this hole, and I was right behind your dad, and Krogman decided to move just as your dad got there and closed up the hole
Oh, no.
and stacked us all up.
Oh.
And your dad's tire come into my car and was I could spin his tire.
Isn't that
was
crazy?
quite the story. It's like, holy smokes.
Yeah.
Yep.
My dad still goes every Friday and Saturday, wherever Randy races, he still goes. But
When did he retire?
Oh, God.
I'm going to
You
say
should know it's your dad.
I'm
That
gonna
was
say
before I was.
80s because Randy started racing when my brother's. I'm gonna show his age. Sorry, Randy. He's 55. My brother started racing when he was 14. My parents had to sign a consent form out at Bluegrass, and like I said, the third time my brother raced, he won, and my dad pretty much stopped after that. I'd
he
say
did.
80s.
Yeah.
Brad, wouldn't
Mid to
you?
late 80s.
Yeah, he's still. He enjoys it. He still goes. But no, he wouldn't get in the car for nothing.
Your dad?
Nah.
I get in the way my knees feel, and I don't know if I get back out.
I feel the pain. Literally.
Well, I mean, we're gonna get the Hickson boys in here in a couple weeks, and they're
that'd be
big.
good.
They work for the Wagners, and we're trying to get them to get some powder puff races going. So if maybe the cars are left over after that race, maybe we can get some old retired guys back in there.
That'd be cool.
You do it then, Donnie?
Me and the powder puff?
Well, no, I mean, well, maybe.
I missed something. I know
No,
the
like-
world's changing, but I don't know.
Donnie, you're killing me right now. No, like after the Powder Puffs got done, the girls got done with the Powder Puffs, and we put you guys in there. Get in there.
Fitted.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm game.
Yeah.
That'd be fun.
Anything else you guys want to talk about? I mean, we got you here for, let's talk about the past. Let's see. What got you into racing?
Oh God, when I was little in the early '60s, my dad was building cars, and my brother-in-law Tom Riggs Sr. was the driver.
Okay.
Tom Riggs Jr., my nephew, is still racing today, and his son Austin is
What number does Austin race?
7.
And what class is he racing?
Outlaw Street Stocks.
Okay, where's he Where can you find Austin at on a Friday
Davenport
night?
Speedway on a Friday night. Sometimes on a track, sometimes not so much. But speaking of even just this last Friday, it broke and spun off. But my dad built cars way back in those days, and I just grew up with it all through my life. And my brothers, they got in cars, and they're way older than me.
Yeah.
And when I finally got around to where I could maybe build something and afford it, I had to give it a try.
You know, the one fond memory I have of you going to the races is how you hauled your vehicle.
It's great, wasn't it?
That
Is that
is,
what you were telling me about?
yes,
Yeah.
that is classic. Yeah. Like I had to. You remember how he hauled it, Donnie?
I do not.
Really? Go ahead, Brad. Tell
I got
everybody.
some pictures of him pitted next to him,
1958
but I
Chevy is what it was.
I do not remember that.
And it was just a hauler truck. It just angled. And
Back in them
back
days, there
this
you used to
thing.
see all kinds of that kind of stuff.
Oh,
Yeah.
this was famous when he and then Brad's dad lived on Division, correct?
15th in division, yes.
It always sat out there like you knew where he was, and it to this day that's what I remember Brad and the baby blue car.
Yeah, that thing was a dinosaur, that hauler. I mean,
Yes.
Even when we had loaded up, it'd be such a steep angle, especially if you had mud on your tires. I had to dang near drive through the cab to get it up on the back of the truck. And them were the good old days, man.
I remember stuff going racing back then. We'd do anything to go racing. You know?
Oh, yeah.
Anything.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Donnie, what got you into racing? You came out of Geneseo out of nowhere, man.
Yeah, well, back then the girl I was dating out of high school, her uncles were the Parishes, Rick Parrish,
Okay.
Bill Parrish, and they raised East Moline.
Yep.
We'd go down to watch them. It only took a couple times. Said, boy, it'd be a lot more fun to do it than sitting here watching.
So then you're saying your girlfriend got you involved?
Well, no, her uncles.
Oh, okay.
Just sitting up in the sand. I mean,
Okay.
never really went to the races before that.
And it didn't take you long to become, a man on the circuit to watch.
Yeah,
As
it
you'd
was-
say,
it was
you
fun.
were named watch out for when you showed up on the track.
It was fun. You could do good back then without a lot of money in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Most of us didn't have much money back then.
Well, and the difference now is even if one of us broke down, half the pit area was over there helping
Yeah.
you get your car back together.
Yep.
And you don't see too much of that these days. It's like, fix it yourself.
You know what's so crazy though is I can honestly say like my brother's raced a lot of tracks, right? And he is the only person I still know that if he's got everything in his damn race car to fix it besides another motor.
He does.
Other than that, and he's willing to help anybody.
Yeah,
He's
we
still
come
one
off
of
to a
those
lot.
guys. Yeah. Give you a little promo there, Randy. Good job, thanks.
I remember we used to part all those cars out. We all carried old rusty A-frames.
You did.
Oh, yeah, we did.
Because they'd all fit,
Drive
Back then, we
shafts.
didn't do
People
a whole
would
lot
use
of
those
fancy
all the
stuff.
time.
Yep.
Randy had 3 or 4 of those things in the garage.
Well, if you beat somebody, you wanted to be on the track and not because their car broke. You wanted
Absolutely.
to legitimately beat them. And
Well, most of them,
it's-
99% of the people we hung out with. So
Oh, yeah.
You did.
It was
They were closing the gate with you.
Yeah.
Took
Yep.
3 or 4 to close that gate. It was so heavy.
Oh, you aren't kidding. It's
It's good
almost
times.
all the street stock class was still in the parking lot getting drunk. After
Absolutely. And, and we're family today. I can honestly say, like,
Oh, yes.
my racing family's family.
Oh, of course, yes.
That's how you know everybody. And that's kind of why I wanted to start this, to bring all these memories back, to let people know what it was like. And maybe might spark some energy and you guys want to build a car. Get another track out there, Donnie. What do you think? Your niece can handle it.
Yeah.
You got that trucker money now.
There was something. I know one guy that raced with one leg, so I guess I could.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We raced
Ronnie Marks.
Who was that guy?
Ronnie Mark.
Ronnie Marks.
And what was his famous number?
101.
There you go. Ronnie was a good time.
Crazy little Indian.
Yeah.
I remember him telling me one time, says, when I'm on the racetrack, I only see my car in the racetrack. I said, Ron, I know you didn't have to tell me. Yeah, we know.
What fond memories do you have of racing, whether it be bluegrass or just in general
They were
racing?
just all good. I remember racing bluegrass one thing just cracks me up. Remember when they used to crash on Route 61 out there all the time when they were racing?
Oh, yeah.
Well, they'd send the ambulance out there. Well, they couldn't race because we're on the ambulance. So they said, is there any paramedics in the stands? Well, Who knows? They said what they were doing up the stands. So they
Right.
brought that old ambulance. Remember that old Dodge ambulance?
Yep.
There was so much dirt on it, they just
And
wiped the windshield wipers.
And they would
That's all.
leave.
Yeah, they come out there and somebody come out of the stands, we start racing again. So
Yeah.
I hope nobody gets hurt.
Yeah. And
There was weird stuff went on out there.
They kept the scales in the ambulance.
they,
So, how did you guys get your sponsors back in the day?
Mostly it was just friends.
Yeah, exactly. We're in friends, and I worked at a place called Reliable Auto Parts back in those days, and my parts were free. It was great.
Okay. Who was your first sponsor?
My dad's shop, my dad's auto shop. If it wasn't for him, I wouldn't have had no race car back in the day.
yeah.
Sandy knew my dad pretty well.
Yeah.
Around the racetrack, and
He's just a little old guy.
yeah, all 5'7", 5'8", wherever he was, and packed the
about-
punch.
Yes, he did.
Who was your first sponsor?
Well, my main was Tom Inglis, probably. We were neighbors.
Okay.
Inglis Concrete.
There you
Remember
go.
the short redhead guy?
Yes.
He used to
Oh,
help me?
yeah. Yeah.
Hell, he helped me a lot. Yeah, he's a good guy.
You know, and I'd say that you guys all met some good friends. Who would you say became one of your better friends out of the whole racing season?
Lots of them. The
Oh
Emmerichs.
yeah,
Okay.
Hang out with the Emmerichs, you know.
They're still racing.
Uh-huh.
I just talked to
Yeah, I
Pat
was over at
on
their shop
Friday.
there a
Yeah.
couple weeks ago.
you guys, Randy just poured me a sidewalk at my house last fall. Excuse me.
Yeah.
That's
It's
I run into some of them, like every once in a while I see Fred Curry or one of them
The
guys.
Shriners, great.
yeah, we got the Shriners in the studio today. So this is gonna be a blast from the past, but and you guys are gonna know it very well. So June 18th, I got Margot Guilfoyle coming to the studio.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know who that is.
You don't
What? You don't know Margot Guilfoyle?
I don't know either.
Pot City Toyota
Yeah, woman racer, 99 yellow car.
won the street stock championship. I don't
Yeah,
know.
she put it to you boys.
That's new to me.
Really? Well, Donnie, you need to come in and meet
That
her.
was before you and I raced together.
Must have been.
Yeah.
Or no,
Must have been before.
that was after.
You think? I don't know. Margot, if you're listening, why don't you tell us when you started racing?
Yeah.
If you're listening.
There wasn't a whole lot of girl racing back then. I remember racing with you.
Oh yeah, there's plenty of racing with Sandy.
Hey. And then we had
Faith Waterman. Remember racing with her?
and then Trisha. Wasn't there a Trisha?
Trisha.
Chrissy Oliver.
Oh, yeah, Chrissy.
We all know Chrissy Oliver.
I know that name, but I never raced her.
Yeah, Margot was one of the she was one of the better ones.
Yeah,
I don't want to say the best, but one of the better ones.
she did good.
Yeah. I mean,
Well, she won the track championship.
She
done something
did.
Right.
she did.
Where at?
Okay.
At
did-
Bluegrass,
what year
yeah.
would that have been? I have no idea.
Well, we'll have to find that out. If anybody knows and can tell us, please chime in and let us know. We'd like to know that. But anyway, she's coming in on the 18th, so we got and then I got Ricky Harlan coming in with her. Old Ricky.
I talked to Ricky last Friday night up there for quite a while.
Donnie, you know Ricky?
No, I do not.
Okay.
Hey, I
well.
like you. We're on the same page.
So Donnie, who did you think was your biggest competitor when you were racing?
There was a few. Back in the years of Bluegrass, if you're talking about, Bill Van Woestijn won a lot.
Yeah, he
Years.
did.
He's hard to beat.
He was the number 1 too, wasn't he? Straight number 1, not 01.
Well,
He
that
was
one years he had I won.
okay. Okay.
Yep.
Well, yeah, it was usually it was number 17.
Yo, 17.
I won was later on, but 17 for all those years was at Cheryl's place.
Yeah.
Yes, that's his famous sponsor.
Yeah.
Yep.
Was it normal for you guys to change stock car numbers?
I never did. I ran some race here and there. Somebody else would have another number, but no, mine always stayed the same.
Yeah, mine was 1 year or two or at 27. Then I was 5 going forward, unless I drove for somebody else.
Yeah. How'd you get number 90?
That's the year I graduated. I don't know how it was easy we came up with it.
Okay.
Number on the side.
Yeah, there you go. I remember your mom always going up in the stands
Yeah.
watching you.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh boy, she'd support me if I still wanted to race.
Well,
She loved it.
I say, Mrs. Merton, we put Donnie back in a car. You know?
But if you called her, we'd probably be racing.
I'll dig out some old pictures and show you where my 5 came from. Where
Yeah.
Back
I was
in
going to
the
ask people to do
60s.
that, but with it being the first podcast and all, we didn't know how this was all going to go, but I think it's going to go really well. I think people are going to tune in. Janelle, you got anything?
I don't think so.
You got anything else you guys want to ask?
Not that I can think
Brad
of.
does.
Yeah, keep the. What do you think the average cost was?
I bet I didn't have $3,000 in my car, complete.
No.
What did it cost you to get in the pits? Do you remember?
$15.
And it's
Probably
$30
about-
now to get in, so it's all doubled.
15 to 20, I was thinking. Yeah.
So, what was the most memorable win for each of you?
Probably maybe the Governor's Cup out there,
Good race.
or maybe one of the first wins at East Moline, you know, because
Yeah,
that was closer to my house, so everybody knew it was at East Moline all the time.
Right.
I won the Illawa Challenge at Hawkeye. That was pretty cool.
What year was that?
91.
Okay.
And then, of course, season championship, obviously.
Yeah.
Won that a couple times, and mid-season championship. But then my very first win was at East Moline, just my third week ever racing.
That was your first win?
Yeah.
When was your first win?
It wasn't the first year. The first year we threw a car together and it wasn't very good. Second year it didn't take too long. I remember because, well, we used to have it on videotape. I don't think we got anything to play it anymore, but
A
I
VCR?
remember going down the back stretch and the hood flew off and went over the back wall at East Moline and won the heat race.
Yeah.
First heat win.
There's a lot that went over that wall at East Moline.
Oh yeah.
That's where the water tank set for a
Right,
while.
Right. Well, for a while there, even after I got my first win, I got into a rut. I couldn't even get out of my own way for the longest time. I could
Yeah.
not get that car to go for nothing. Caused a couple pileups.
So in
Scared to
today's
drive the
racing, your cars would probably be more like the hobby stocks, right?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Oh,
So
Yeah, most.
With smaller motors even.
yeah. Now most of the hobby stocks run crate motors, right?
Right.
So back in your, let's compare engines, right? Would you say yours was slower, faster, the same?
I just ran a 355, the biggest motor I ever ran. And
When we started, where I worked over there at Exxon, we had a tow truck. You know, we had a
Mm-hmm.
record right off Interstate 80, and there was a Chevy truck. I don't know, the guy got drunk or fell asleep and hit a guardrail one night. About all that was left was the engine. We just took it out and put it in a race car. That's where the first engine came
Yeah.
from, the 350. Wasn't
So-
anything special, but you could go out and run with that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and it was mostly like the driver and not the car. It's like how the driver was going to race,
oh,
right?
yeah.
Like the right front spring. You know, now springs and shocks are so out of sight. You know,
Oh,
that used to go to 292. I think Moose ran down there and seen Mike got a 3/4 ton truck spring, took a torch and you cut it off to the height you want.
Yep.
Ran that
That's what
same
we
spring
done.
for years.
That's what you
just
did
couldn't wear
too?
it out.
Same thing. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gas charged shocks. Nothing special.
Oh, you're in Farm Fleet shocks, and I think it was around 2,000 for bought the first real racing shock, and they were only $50.
Yep.
You know, I think Randy spends, and I'm just going to guess, and I could be wrong, but $800 for all his shocks.
I believe that.
I mean, it's just crazy what they got into them,
So I
but
said
they
they're
have
different
fun.
What they used to.
Yeah, it's
I don't
not.
even know the hobby stock rule or any of the rules really anymore.
It's totally
I know
different.
it's different.
Yeah, I mean, Randy's got backup to his backup. So
That's
you
the way-
got
if you're
to,
going to race, that's the way to do it.
you have to. You know, it's not like.
We
I
were in
rem-
street tires and mostly out bluegrass all them years. We were in street tires.
Yeah.
Yep.
And we couldn't even run racing wheels for the longest time.
Then they let
Snap
you run
your
the
tire
racing
off.
tires, but they remember they had a claim on them.
Yep. Sure did.
They
I
claim on the
remember-
tires.
Back when I was a kid, like cherry picker, you just throw chain over a fence and pull the motor. Nowadays, it's all different.
Oh, yeah.
You know, they got these engines, like you can put it on a stand now and start it up without even putting it in the race
Yeah,
car.
we
Yeah.
had that.
You know, I know things have just changed.
So when you guys started, how many different classes were there?
4.
Do you remember what they were?
I see. Late
I was thinking
models,
East Moline when I had
modifieds.
four.
There was no sport mod, but there
No,
was
no.
pro stock.
Pro stock and then the street stock.
Yeah.
What's the difference?
What's that?
What's the difference
pro
in all these
stock-
classes?
The pro stock was kind of like a.
It looked like
it's called
a late
lim-
model with a stock
a
stub.
very limited late model, yeah, with a stock stub.
Yep. I think they had to run 2-barrel carburetor. Might
Now,
be
have
right.
either of you guys raced anything besides a bomber?
I drove a pro stock. I drove a modified. That were not my cars. I just drove them for other people.
What did you see? What did you think was the big difference in all of them?
God, the way you could make the adjustments on the cars. And in our street stocks, you couldn't do anything to them. So maybe stagger and put a little bit bigger tire in the right front, that kind of thing. Those cars, you know, they run late model tires on them, and it's all the difference in the world how much rubber you put on the dirt
Yeah.
and how that car handles. And it would just work a lot better. The modified car, the first time on that, it was Milton Mormon's car that I drove.
He was 111, 117.
117,
Okay.
I felt like I was sitting on the ground first time I ever got in one. It was so low,
Okay.
and obviously a much lighter weight car, and completely different than our street stocks back in the day. Now today's street stocks would compare more
Yeah.
to them, but not back then.
Have you ever driven Austin's car?
I got in it but the steering wheel was up against my chest,
Okay.
and my knees were in my face. So
We just need to push it back a
yeah,
little.
we
Is that
didn't
what
have
you're
to move the
saying?
seat back about 2 feet, and I could drive Austin's
That's the
car.
problem I got. I'm getting in a lot of these cars, and guys, the way they drive, I wouldn't even fit.
I tried getting in Austin's car a couple years ago over at East Moline. I was just going to go pack the track with it or something like that.
Couldn't get in it.
Took 20 minutes to get back out of it.
Well, okay. Do you think if you could see anything, Brad, you go more, so this might be a better question for him, but with you going and seeing the changes, is there anything that you could see that you would like to see changed? Whether it be in a hobby stock or in a late model, like
Well,
you watch it on TV, so if you see anything that you could see that you'd like to see change.
obviously, I'd like to always see a lot more cars there.
That's why I was the exact same thing I was
Davenport
thinking. I think
Speedway gets over 100 as it is every week, which is
Okay.
fantastic. It's great, but to do that, they would have to put some stricter rules on the classes, try to make them more affordable. And I don't know if that's a thing. That may be a thing of the past.
It's probably hard to
Yeah.
go backwards.
Yeah, I even thought about one time, like in the Outlaws or just the street stocks, saying you can't run a brand new tire. You have to have buy the used tires off the modified guys or something like
they
that.
Yeah.
tried that, and then you just cheat.
Yeah.
They go drive around in the mud with the brand new tires. And
Yeah.
So, but it'd be something like, but I don't know. It's
Speaking of cheating, you guys ever got caught cheating?
never cheated.
Okay.
nobody cheats.
Nobody cheats? They shouldn't, right?
Never.
Right. So,
We got some questions.
Couldn't afford
yeah.
to cheat.
We got go ahead, Janellis.
Well, we got a question here from Christina. She wants to know if any of you guys ever gotten in a bad wreck, ever rolled your car.
I rolled mine in Bureau County. I don't know if it was that bad.
Did you get
It
hurt?
ended up upside down. No, I wasn't hurt until I undid the freaking seat belts, fell on my head, and then cut my hand open on the sheet metal trying to crawl out of it.
Okay.
How was
Did
the
you get
car?
wrecked?
Was the car bad?
All the front end parts and the rear end bent.
Did you get back in it?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. I don't know if it was the year 1 points or the next year.
So you weren't wearing gloves.
No.
So
I
the
don't think
safety
years-
stuff back then is
Yeah,
nothing
you
like it
didn't
is
have to.
now.
When we
Yeah.
started racing, and guys wore flannel shirts.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Hey.
I just wore a fire jacket. That was it. No
Yeah.
gloves, no fire pants.
Probably had open face helmets too.
I had an open face helmet in '93, but I went full face in '94.
Yeah, my
I think mine
dad.
was always full face.
I have pictures of my dad with goggles on and a handkerchief.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Just giving it hell out there with the door all cut down and stuff. Like,
My worst wreck was Street Stock 50 in '93. Right at the end of the straightaway, the track was hard slick, and I went to go make a pass and got crossed up with 2 other cars, and we went right in the wall at the end of the straightaway. That didn't feel very good. I had 3-inch bruises coming down down my chest for about 2 weeks. Fun
Yeah.
to breathe, just the good stuff.
so after that race, racing was probably pretty much over then at Bluegrass after that, the 50 race, right?
Yeah, that was the last race of the season.
So, and then is it
Yeah,
like,
that last month of the year, they ran the daytime.
right, which is fun. Nobody does that anymore.
No,
What do you guys think about bringing back that Saturday day racing?
that'd be great.
The only bad thing about it was it's guaranteed to be so dry slick that
Yes.
Yeah.
day racing on dirt just to get dry slick.
Well, Hawkeyes, if they were in October, it
Yep.
was a little bit cooler,
Yep.
but
But it was fun.
Oh, I think
I
they brought in
remember-
300 cars.
They'd pack a house. They had the playground. They
I
had
remember
the
one night Gary Webb was in Missouri somewhere and rolled his car. Do you remember that?
Jefferson
And he
City. I
called-
remember.
He called somebody at home
Yep.
to get the parts ready or something. He come and they fixed the car back up, mostly in the pits, I think, at Bluegrass.
Yep.
He went out and won. Their bodies all dented to pieces. And
I
he won the
do
beach.
remember that. I
Yeah.
do remember that. He was in Jefferson City.
He was
I
in
do
Missouri
remember
somewhere.
that.
Drove
Yeah.
all night, got home, and they fixed it. All but the body.
Yeah.
Sheet metal.
Well, the bodies were easy to replace back
Oh,
then.
yeah.
And usually you take them off and just pound them off right there with a hammer,
Oh yeah.
right in the pits.
Now he won. It was still all mashed up.
Yeah. Remember in the pits back in the day, man, you didn't have, it was all dirt, parking back
Oh,
there.
yeah.
You didn't have, you didn't pay for parking.
Nope.
No,
You just-
I never paid for parking
No.
at the racetrack.
You pay for parking now.
Do you really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you pay, I think it's $100, but it's all season.
Yeah.
I think what's nice about that is you don't have to get to the track early to get a spot.
Yeah.
I remember back in Bluegrass, man, we were pulling to the racetrack at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Racing not starting until 7.
Yep.
So you was there all day.
I remember we raced at East Moline, and Track Inn was our sponsor. We'd stop and pick up our case of beer and have to sit there for a little while. Hurry up and get to the races, and hurry up and unload so you go run.
Yeah.
What's probably the biggest thing that you miss about racing, Donnie?
Just the hanging out with everybody, the fun.
Yeah.
The camaraderie, you bet.
Yeah.
Is that what you miss too, Brad?
100%.
That's more
It was
questions.
great.
Got any? You guys ever racked up any speeding tickets now, or are you done racing? Or...
It's been a while since I've had one, but a few
Yeah.
years probably.
Oh,
I still got to live.
I drive slower. I drive
Do you?
trucks. I got to, or it just messes with everything. So.
So now that since the podcast, we're gonna see you on Friday night up there at Davenport,
Oh, possible.
just watching.
Oh, I'm sure.
I mean, we could see you standing next to Brad, and my dad's always there.
I talked to your dad a couple years ago at McWokota one night.
Yeah.
Sat there and talked to him for a while
Okay.
about a beer stand.
So there's a lot of racers that still go. I still see a lot of them. Some are still racing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's an expensive hobby, but sure, it's fun.
Oh, yeah.
I'd be
it's an
starting from
addiction.
zero. I have nothing left. I have 0 race car parts.
Really?
I have nothing left either.
Nothing.
I gave everything I had to Tom.
So no trailers, no
I don't have
nothing,
anything.
huh?
That old hauler's gone.
Man, I miss that thing.
Yep.
That was
I got to see if I can find a picture of it for you, Sandy.
yeah.
a
That
picture
you know
somewhere.
you.
Talked about that a couple times.
Yeah,
with
it's
me.
classic. I mean, if anybody knows Brad Cook, that's the one thing that they're gonna remember.
Yeah, that hauler.
Yeah, I mean, unlike Donnie. Donnie came out of
I
Geneseo.
don't remember anything.
Well,
I don't remember his haul.
I think it was
You didn't have
because you.
that. Did you have that when we raced?
Yeah.
Well, I sure
That's the
don't
only one I
remember.
ever used.
I don't know if it was because you were stopping at the bars picking up your sponsor money or something, and
Or that 12-pack of beer.
Yeah.
Oh, remember those days? Those days when you got the track, you could just come in the pits with your cooler of beer.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I remember
You can't do that no more.
getting keg of beers and
Oh, yeah.
cracking them open and celebrating birthdays.
Sandy, you'll remember this. How many times did we sit around in the pits afterwards drinking beer and just throwing the cans in somebody's race car?
I was just thinking that myself. I remember
Yeah.
racing beer cans come out from under the seat,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
go around the track.
Yep, you get home, you clean out $15 worth of cans in your
Oh,
car.
absolutely.
We still do that.
You still do that? Yeah. I mean, I remember stories my brother and dad would tell me that they would be pulled over and they'd have the big old glass mugs of beer, like the 32 ounces, and a cop would pull them over. And my dad would give it to my brother, and there's a hole in the floorboard. They'd just pour it down there like nothing was going on, and they'd go on about their way.
Oh, yeah.
I remember a bunch of us, we'd hang out on nights, just not other than a racing nights, and I remember we'd be out all night Friday and go race at Bluegrass, and you know how you used to park in that little track in the middle waiting for the other heat race?
Yeah.
Yep.
And sometimes they'd screw around so frickin' long, and I remember falling asleep out there in the car waiting for the next race.
Back then, in your guys' racing days, you'd pit right in the middle.
Yeah.
That's where the hot
Just
spot
for the,
was.
For
The
the,
lineup for the next race.
Yeah.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
you just park in that
Yep.
little track in the middle.
Now, yeah. So to me, that's a little different. Now everybody's like, you're lining them up in the pits and they're coming out, and that part of it's different. And the flag man, we still got Doug Hack around.
Yep, Doug's
He's
great.
still
Well,
around.
back then it wasn't Doug.
Mike Johnson.
No, it was Mike
So I
Johnson.
remember
Yep.
one night driving around there, and I was in the lead, and it was single file at the time, and you go around there 100 freaking times.
You would.
And I'm sitting there I'm looking at that scoreboard, so man, I'm in first, second, and third somehow. I just kept driving around, I'm staring at the scoreboard.
You were that
Race
good,
on a
Don.
half mile.
Quarter mile. Did you guys ever race on a half mile, or
Yes.
was it just
Oh,
the
yeah.
quarter, eighth?
Half mile at Davenport.
Okay.
Freeport, Davenport a couple times. Freeport, race on a half mile.
When
What-
did they put that short track in Davenport?
It's always been there.
always been
Because
there.
even when they run the half mile, it was still there. They just weren't using it.
They didn't use as much back then.
No.
What size track did you guys like to race on?
At the end, I liked the half mile.
Did ya?
See, I prefer the quarter or bluegrass was the 1/3.
That was
So,
a nice size track.
that was
the third
great.
mile.
You could get a good amount of speed up.
Yeah.
They really like bluegrass.
Yeah, it was great. Oh,
That's where we all grew up at.
it's the memories there are second to none.
Yeah.
Great.
When did they shut down?
Mid 2000s, wasn't it? Or,
That what it was?
Virgil Paul took it over for about a couple years, didn't he?
Yep.
Like 2002, 2003, I think, maybe. Virgil, if you're listening, why don't you chime in and let us know when you took it over?
I know I bought that B mod, and we run B mods.
You did?
won
I
the
didn't know
points.
that.
Yeah, the last many years I run a B mod,
Okay.
and I won points at Bluegrass, and that had to have been 2004 maybe,
Okay. There you
somewhere
go.
around there.
Well, I know you can still get on
And it
YouTube.
wasn't many years after that. I don't think it was there.
You can still get on YouTube. In 2006, they still had races. I do know that.
Yeah, I
I've
think
seen
it was
that.
a couple more years.
Yeah.
2004 was the last year I raced there.
That's about when they came out with the 4 cylinders too, didn't they?
Oh, boy.
That class.
Maybe right around there somewhere.
Do you remember what track was your last race on?
Oh, the last one might have been Burlington. I run Tony Hahn's car once in a while.
Sounds like you raced a lot of different. What tracks did you all race at? Can you tell us?
Well, East Moline, Bluegrass, Freeport, LaSalle, Aledo. That was one of their first tracks around Aledo, I guess.
Lido was a fun track.
I've never went was
It had no walls or nothing. You know,
It was a fun track. Brad, what tracks did you all race at?
Davenport,
County.
Hawkeye, West Liberty, Tipton, Macokota. I think that might have been about it.
well, Bureau County was different. Did you ever race there? Go
Never.
there?
Never even been
It
there.
just had one short straightaway, and it was D-shaped. And you were just, if the track was tacky, you just floored
You
it
could floor
all the
it.
way around.
Yeah.
And
I-
try not to end up the grandstand and coming out of 4.
Burlington's kind of like that. The 34 Raceway is kind of like the D shape.
Sorta.
I raced there once in a powder puff race, somebody else's car.
How'd you do?
If I recall, I think I got a flat tire. I think my brother ended up having to put a new tire on that guy's
You
car.
gotta get in Randy's car this year and do it.
You know, he won't let me. He won't. I keep asking him.
Why not?
I don't know. And I tell him I want to get in Black Betty. You know, he's got the backup
Yeah.
car. Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen, Brad. Why don't you talk to him for me?
Come on, Randy, you can do it.
Yeah.
It's just one race.
Yeah, it's just one. I promise I won't throw it in. I'll just drive it in.
There you go. That's fair
I
enough.
won't rip the lip.
Yeah.
My sister
know
had never
you
even been
will.
in a car till one night, and she won the powder puff at Aledo in my car. And
Yeah.
she won a feature before I did.
Great.
Really?
Yeah, you think I never heard about that?
Probably still do.
Was there anything you guys want to ask each other?
Well, I think we probably asked it.
Yeah.
Another question.
All the time.
What drivers that are starting out do you think have a big future in dirt racing?
You'd know this more than I would.
You need to start watching.
Logan,
Yeah.
Bellows, 100%.
So we got his mom and dad coming into the studio on June 4th.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
We
would,
did enough racing with the Velos back in the day.
you know Milo, right?
I know him not real well.
Yeah, his
Is
son
he
is.
the one? You know, the first race I went to last year was down at the Dome.
Oh, that's probably good racing.
Yeah,
I've never been to the
Oh,
Dome,
that's
but
a
I've heard
blast.
a lot about
that's
that.
crazy. If you like dirt track.
St. Louis, isn't it?
Yeah,
You've ever been to the Dome?
I have not.
Me either. My nephew goes a lot.
it's
He
a
says
different
it's a
kind
good
of
time.
racing.
Yeah, Austin's been.
Really? Oh, they probably go down with Dakota and everybody. I would have to agree with Velos.
Yep.
Logan's definitely, he's got that late model hooked up.
Yeah, he does.
He's got some good people behind him.
going.
Good kid. Yeah, Charlie Moore.
That's a good one.
He's a good one. You know, there's a 14-year-old kid in the hobby stock.
Carson Butt.
There you go. Carson Butt. I think
Carson
that
Butt.
kid's gonna hammer down real soon here. He's gonna get a heat win soon, I think. He's got the Rick Zaruba sponsorship behind him.
Well, who's the other? I can't think of their name.
Race Mullen.
Raced Miles and how is that right?
You got the
Miles
Jordan, Carter,
Jordan Carter.
Jerry's the dad, Jordan. There's a lot of them.
Yeah, there's a whole family.
There's a whole family of them, and they got to have like 8 race car trailers, I think.
Something
Pull
like
them
that.
all.
But yeah, they're up and coming.
Well, Donnie, I
They don't
think,
have a hauler though.
yeah, they don't.
Right.
Nobody's got a holler like Brad's
Yeah,
dad had.
there was one and only.
Yeah, Brad, we got to bring a picture of that.
I will. I'll see if I can find one.
Yeah.
What interests me, go in the pits now, and they got these stands. They're grinding tires, and back then we just bolt them on. And went.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My
They
dad
got more
called,
stuff than I ever seen.
my dad called the tires May Pops.
Yeah.
They may pop anytime. So, yeah, and that's what it was like back then. There wasn't a whole lot of money going around. Just a bunch of
No.
guys racing,
Having fun.
having a blast. And
Yeah.
We were in
And it
cheap
was.
street tires because you buy 2 of them to one racing tire.
Yep.
That's
Yeah.
another reason. But they worked. So.
Those were the fun racing days.
Oh yeah.
It was. And now everybody's
was.
serious about it, which I get it. They got a lot of money in these cars, and they got to take it serious.
What would a late model have in it back 20 years ago? What was that, 10 grand, 5 grand?
What do you think Gary Webb's car was worth 30 years ago when
Well,
you
he
guys
probably had,
raced?
he had a lot in the engine, but I don't think the cars were nothing like they are now.
Right.
I was down Dewman shop.
Did he have
the
a
other day. He's got
GRT
more
back then?
frickin' mounts and everything on that. That's stuff I've never
Well,
seen.
the motors are probably still comparable to today, or
Well,
really
now
close,
I guess they
but-
tell you what you got to run for an engine. Don't they?
Yeah,
pretty close.
pretty.
We
And
never had that.
that's the one nice thing with IMCA. You know, you follow the rules. You got to be. It's the driver today, I think, versus like what you got in the car and how you build it, because you got all the same rules you got to follow. Mm-hmm. So it's more the driver.
I don't know. I don't think that'd fit in with telling what engine you can run and stuff.
Right.
Because you don't cheat, though, right?
No.
Okay.
Well, back then they're, basically it was steel heads. If you
Yeah,
had
you
steel
did.
heads, they
And
don't
they
care what you
looked
had
a
in
little
the
bit closer back in those days too.
Yeah, you're right. They did.
And well, Vern even called me a few times and said, "Hey, they're going to be checking for this." I said, "I don't care. It's legal. You
Yeah.
can look at it anytime you want to."
Down East Lane, we used to paint our heads aluminum paint, and the intakes just to mess with.
Yeah.
Because you come in on the trailer, you could just look right
Yeah.
through the wheel well, and everybody, what's
You got aluminum heads on there.
the guy come around? He lifts using his magnet.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You get this. See if anything else, Janelle, you want to add.
No, I think I'm good. We're about getting finished too soon.
Well, I want to thank you guys for coming in.
Well, thank you.
It was
Yeah,
fun.
thanks
Did
for
you have
having
fun, Donnie?
Oh yeah,
You gonna come back and watch his race this time?
oh yeah.
Yeah.
Truck comes.
She's gonna be looking for you.
Yeah, we are. You're gonna be on the
Well, I think
lookout.
trucks are gonna be slow this summer, so I'll probably have lots of time to go to the races.
We do some. Janelle and I, we do Down and Dirty with Dunright, and we come up into the stands. We interview people, so you guys are definitely gonna get interviewed when we see you.
Well, you know where I'm at.
I always know where you're
You
at.
can see
If
me
I'm
from
in
where you're
Davenport,
sitting.
I ain't gonna be far from him.
No, okay. Well, we'll find you
We're
guys
usually
for
right
sure.
in the same little circle.
Yeah.
Well, if any viewers out there got any questions,
Oh, they're trying to get you
Yeah.
Randy's car.
yeah, Randy's not gonna. He's not gonna bite.
Well, he's got 2 cars. Come on.
I know, Randy. You know all those sponsors that we get you. I think just one time, just one powder
All
puff
right, Randy,
race.
give me a good plug for your concrete stuff today, so you can do it.
All right, you guys. Well, we're gonna get off of here. I appreciate you guys coming in,
Yes,
taking
thank
your
you.
time.
Nice to
Thank
meet
you.
you.
It was good talks, good memories.
Oh yeah. There's a lot more to share. So
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah, good.
Should
Appreciate it.
drug up some pictures.
yeah.
You should.
Yes.
I got
I'll
You
dig
know
some
what?
up.
Maybe we'll get
Do it
that.
some other time, and I'll bring some pictures in.
So maybe August. I got openings in August. Maybe we'll get the whole group together in August, and maybe we'll do like a 2-hour one. And if there's anybody you guys think that you want, we should bring in, let me know.
Oh, I'm sure we can find
So he
some.
can
know?
get this and still comment on this podcast if he finds his
Yeah,
pictures and put it in the comments.
absolutely. Good thinking, Janelle.
Yeah. I'll think of something.
Kelly, is there anything you could think of? Any questions, Diane, you want to ask?
I don't know. I got a ton of questions, but
Slim Roberts, thank you for watching. Yeah,
See, put that in the comments.
yeah, put that in the comments. That's an old car. Slim, we wish you
That's
the
what I
best with
remember.
your back. We got a viewer that's going to have some back surgery. He
John
raced
Fish- John
with
Fish
us.
right there.
Put that in the comments.
You put it in the comments.
Janelle, put that in the comments for
Okay.
me.
Put that in the comments.
Okay.
All right, you guys.
got a
Well, we're gonna.
Samsung.
I'm phone illiterate.
when's your next?
He's got a
when's your next
Samsung.
show?
I don't know how to
So,
use that.
our next podcast is going to be next Wednesday at 6:00. We are going to have Josie Allen, which is Dakota Cole's girlfriend.
Yeah.
We're going to have Stephanie Houston, which is Randy Lamar's girlfriend, and we're going to bring on Randy and Scott Smith.
Nice.
So those are going to be the retired guys. So look forward to that. We'll see you next Wednesday, the 21st at 6:00.
Thanks for tuning in.
Thanks, everybody.